Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMTrading. Today is December 26, 2022, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Tesla stock keeps on tumbling. If you ever wanted to see what money being flowed out of a stock looks like, check out the Tesla graph. But first, looking at the major economic events of this week, nothing scheduled. It's pretty much the biggest holiday week of the year, so really no major economic events of the year. And just in general, the markets will be quiet. So looking at the market, starting out with the Forex symbols, the major pairs pretty much continue to trade in a very tight range. So do the indices, pretty much the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ, both really unchanged. Looking at commodities, gold just dips slightly lower, while oil also takes a little bit of a dip. Also looking at Tesla, it continues to trickle down as we're looking at it, and Bitcoin continues to be unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're going to take a look at the Euro USD, and you can pretty much see we're really flatline. 106.15. Come on, we've been in a 5-pip range. When we're looking at that, let's look at a 1-minute chart just to give us perspective. Or let's start with a 5-minute. I mean, we went from 106.31 to 106.15, 15-pip range. That's really not much doing there, okay? Not much doing anywhere when it comes to the Forex symbols. I mean, this is the holiday of most of the northern hemisphere, including the southern hemisphere for that matter. So we're going to continue seeing a lot of consolidation this week, a lot of very quiet kind of week. I expect it to be, unless there's going to be some sort of crazy stuff. But as you look at the rest of the Forex symbols, you pretty much see that they're pretty timid, okay? They're pretty very, calm down. I mean, maybe the USD Japanese yen is the only one that's really just jumping really in a, bigger range here than the others, but really not much doing here. So don't add too much weight, and especially don't trade too big during this week as well. You don't want to be caught up in something that just doesn't have any rhyme or reason, at least this week. So jumping into gold, we did retrace a little bit, okay? Now we're making, if we look at this, okay, you could read into this right now, but we're making somewhat of a upwards momentum here still, okay, as this is becoming a kind of like a wedge formation, but right wedge formation. It looks like May going into next week may take it up. So just keep an eye on this, because this may trickle up, may trickle not, but keep an eye on this, because if it does, it could really take us on the upper range, especially because we've been above the 200-day moving average for quite some time. So there is some resilience here, okay, as you can see here, but it's challenged with that 1810, 1816-ish level. So just keep that in mind, okay? And usually when you have these type of formation, the doji candles, okay, where you have a very little candle but a big wick, that's generally spoken of indecision, okay? And when this is happening around an area where there's resistance, okay, it becomes that much more difficult to actually read into. So keep that in mind. Now looking at crude oil, we did week-to-week gain, okay, to $79 from $75. Okay, so it was a decent week for oil, but we are retracing here at $80, and I do expect it to continue just really trading in a range this week. Looking at the Dow Jones came back to life towards the end of last week, and pretty much unchanged for Friday at 33,357 right now. Really unchanged, not really trading. You could see that it's really very, very quiet, and that's completely understandable. I mean, it's Christmas almost around the world, and going out of Christmas, so I expect it to be very, very quiet this week as well. So NASDAQ on the bottom of its range. Tech stocks are still weak, okay, so going into next week, this may be a play on the downside. Now looking at specific stocks, looking at Apple, it's on the bottom here at 131-ish level. That's a point to be concerned, okay? If we look at Facebook, it's really unchanged week to week. But if we look at Tesla, look at that, okay? Tesla is selling off like there is people pulling out money, okay, institutional people pulling out money, and that's a very, very important element, okay? Now, we've seen this go from $300 down to $123, so we're making a new low for the year, and you can't see it on a 4-hour chart because this is, pre the split, but all intents and purposes, it's 5-to-1 split, and so we're really just trading at about $600, which is right here. It's new lows for the year, okay? So with that said, this is making new lows for the year, okay? That is very important as we're kind of making a roundabout phase here for Tesla, okay, which is supposed to be like a massive stock. So really the next support level is something at 500-ish level. So 5 to 1, that's about two, a little bit less than that. So keeping this in mind, okay, just keep this in mind that Tesla is, selling out. If it breaks $100, that's a scary place to be. Looking at Amazon, we're also trickling lower here as well to $86 a share. And lastly, really looking at Bitcoin, unchanged week to week, 16,832. No big changes here, so keep that in mind as going into this week. Bitcoin is not doing much. Okay, so next week will be we're going to be able to turn over to a new chapter and see what we can do for next month. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a very special holiday season, and God bless, and a great trading day. Thank you.